Hello, welcome to Global Business. I am Imewole Uhiomokai. It's another brand new week, and of course, we have a lot on the program for you today. We have, we're looking at the agric budget for 2017. We're looking also at the NPower program. Have you been very inquisitive, or you really want to know about the NPower program? Then you need to stay tuned on this program. And of course, we'll be bringing you a full version of the special feature, the business feature on the restricted items, 41 restricted items for the by the Central Bank of Nigeria to Forex. Of course, you know they restricted 41 items, and we started that last week, but we're bringing you a full version of that this week. Of course, we'll also bring you our regulars like street business and our Anchor Oma Oche. We were looking at the issue of what they call keke in Abuja. Now, what has been happening? Did you have a nice time in business last week? The Monetary Policy Committee, the Central Bank, left the key repo rate at 14%. Of course, also left the CRR credit reserve ratio at 22.5%, while the liquidity ratio was left at 30%. Of course, still within the week, that's last week, the Central Bank came out to reinforce its stance on its forex policies and its belief on its forex policies. That's against what some people have been talking about. You know, people have been against that policy. Just 2 weeks ago, we brought you something that Atedo Peter side. Actually, last week, we brought you Atedo Peter side's stance against that policy. But the Central Bank says it stands its ground. This is the best policy for Nigeria. Okay, now, let's look at what we have first on the program, cryptocurrency. Do you know what that is? Have you heard of it? I'm sure a lot of you may not be familiar with it, but you'll be familiar with the words OneCoin or Bitcoin. Well, the Central Bank of Nigeria says that there is a future, or there may be a future, for cryptocurrency for payments in Nigeria, and that's what we'll be looking at on our first report. Ehizo Jemomo went to look at that cryptocurrency. What is it all about? Is it internet-based? Is it real cash? So, if it is going to be the future for payments in Nigeria, then of course we need to look thoroughly into it. So, Ehizo Jemomo, tell us more about the cryptocurrency.
The term cryptocurrency and its use for payment transaction is not new to the world, as it has been around since 2009 with the creation of the Bitcoin. This currency or its use is however relatively new in Nigeria. The response on the street shows Nigerians are aware of it.
These people are using to do businesses online, to buy things online. At least you can use to buy things online, do transactions, you can sell it and make your money for now. Sure.
The way people are buying into this Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, this is not the first time this idea has come afloat. Let me ask you a question. Are you not scared that one day you go to your bank and they will tell you that the security man and a military man will be standing there and they'll tell you that there's a problem and you cannot withdraw your money again? Life is full of risk. Me and you standing here, we are at the risk of a plane falling on our head right now.
I think that's actually the future of currency. When you have some powerful governments, are you getting me, accepting it? Even in Nigeria, some shops in this town accept Bitcoin as means of payment. So as a means of payment, it's not an issue.
A cryptocurrency is a medium of exchange like normal currencies, such as the US dollar or Naira. However, it is designed for the purpose of payment using digital information through a process made possible by certain principles of cryptography used to secure the transactions. The currencies are purely traded digital funds online, with an example seen in the case for MMM users, where Bitcoin has been introduced as a means of payment. There are hundreds of cryptocurrencies like the OneCoin, Independence Coin, Peer Coin, Dark Coin, Namecoin, and the list goes on. The technical system on which all cryptocurrencies are based was created by Satoshi Nakamoto. Solomon Esau of the Cryptocurrency Center in Abuja sheds more light on why Nigerians are buying into the cryptocurrency.
There have been a lot of misinformation in public as to what cryptocurrency is all about and how can it, benefit the ordinary man. Yes, cryptocurrency over the years have benefited mostly ordinary people, because when it was first created in 2009, The ordinary man bought one cryptocurrency for $0.1. That is 50 naira. And right now, that same coin, that same currency that was bought for $0.1, 50 naira, is now going for about $900. $900, you're talking about 500,000 naira. So that made the poor person to become rich.
The legal status of cryptocurrencies varies from country to country. While some countries have explicitly allowed the use and trade of cryptocurrencies, others have banned or restricted it. In Nigeria, the Securities and Exchange Commission (SEC) warned against the use of cryptocurrencies like the Bitcoin. The Central Bank of Nigeria (CBN), on the other hand, is considering a framework for the adoption of blockchain technology in the payment system for cryptocurrency use, and this is seen as important.
We have to show that this is, there's a quality assurance system and a monitoring regime that can identify who is it that is trading on this currency and then track the trade, so that we are aware of money laundering and anti-money laundering, and then we are aware of terrorism financing and anti-terrorism financing measures. So these two measures, money laundering and terrorism financing, are the subject of financial action task force. So we need to reassure them.
So the government can say, okay, can place a regulation that all cryptocurrency or any cryptocurrency company that wants to operate within a country should be KYC compliant. They should operate like a bank. They must know everybody that has an account with the cryptocurrency, and they should be able to trace it. And government can even collect taxes from cryptocurrency to the cryptocurrency company.
As regulators, as operators, we need also to have enough knowledge about this technology.
We need to start thinking also differently. If there are technology disruptions, we can also be thinking about security disruptions.
Disruptions in the world payment systems are not new, but the safety and ease of using such disruptions caused by technology for payments calls for concern. Nigerians who are willing to take the risk of using cryptocurrencies now hope in the nearest future they will be properly guided on whether to fully use it or not.
Varieties of highly nutritious rice in Abakaliki, Ofada, Kano. Yet Nigeria wastes billions on rice importation. Cocoa in the southwest, and yet top dollar is spent on imported chocolate and beverages. Fruits rot in Benue, Nasarawa, Kogi, yet imported juice line the shops. 82 million hectares of rich arable land, yet no jobs, and food insecurity threatens.
Our real wealth is in farming, livestock, hatcheries, fisheries, horticulture, and forestry.
It's time to act different. Time to bring Nigerian farmers to the market. Farmers Market, growing Nigeria's agro-economy. Showing every Tuesday at 5:30 p.m. on AIT.
Let me tell you where I am. I'm sure you're wondering, this is really like an office, but it's not a thorough office. This is the incubation system that is beginning to grow in Nigeria. Of course, you ask yourself, what is incubation system? This incubating micro, small enterprises. No medium, because mediums can build their own buildings or have their own offices. But these are small businesses that want to do services, especially for services or even products. And they come together and start what we'll call the corporate society of offices. You know, when you have a corporate society, you have the cooperative society rather. You have the group of people come together and put money together and say, okay, they are forming a cooperative society. But for offices now, we have a cooperative society for offices, and that's the incubation system. And you have one person who usually starts that system. We're talking to him later on the program. Doyin Adewola is our guest on Talking Point. But like I said, I am in one of the incubation systems in Abuja. It's box office, and they have different offices. You can see this is an office. That is an office. This is another office, and this is another office. They're all like 4 different companies right here. Of course, if you are a small business and you cannot run your office, a big office of your own, the best thing would be for you to join the incubation system because it's cheap, actually. I'm giving you a heads on for businesses. So this is one of the offices. I'm sure Patrick is here. Patrick works here. So Patrick, how are you? Hello. Welcome. Good to meet you again.
Thank you.
Now, Patrick, you've been here for how long?
I've been here for like 2 years now.
2 years. Yep. Great. How this is a small office because we'll get to see your office later. I mean, the smallness of the office. But how is it, incubation? I'm sure you are a small business that's trying to grow.
Yeah, the incubation office delivered by box office owned by Mr. Doyin, it's actually meant for small businesses.
Yes.
But also for bigger businesses also. Like my company, Abzone, is a big business, but
okay, but you decided to have a small branch here.
Our head office is in Lagos, so we wanted to come into Abuja and the north, and it's not financially wise to just start a very big office in Abuja or in the north. So we wanted to start small, so we started from.
So you can agree with me, you can say and agree with me that this is a very inexpensive way to start a business.
Yeah, compared to what you can get an office like this in Abuja, this is actually more cost effective because everything you want in an office you can get here. You will not have the stress of going out to look for like lights, internet, and every other thing. So you just come inside and do your work.
And let me just tell you that box office is just one of the small incubation, or one of the incubation systems that is here, right here in Abuja. We have other incubation systems that are right here in Abuja. And I know that in Lagos, in Port Harcourt, and in Warri, they have some incubation systems that are building themselves in those places. Thank you very much, Patrick. I'm sure you're not regretting having to be in an incubation system.
No, if there was a regret, I won't have been here for like 2 years now.
2 years. Thank you very much. Thank you. Have a great day.
Thank you.
I'll see your office later. Okay, but now we're moving on as we go to meet Ngozi Onyejaku, where she tells us about the agric budget and the need for the Nigerian government to really implement what it has budgeted for. Imagine this budget actually for this year is actually quite, much better than the previous years. But this time, the question that has always been asked is, do they implement what they put on paper? Ngozi Onyejaku looks at 2017 budget, the agric sector.
More resources will be voted for in agric in 2017. The federal government will sustain concrete measures to diversify the economy through the 2017 budget. These were the exact words of President Muhammadu Buhari's 2016 Eid al-Maulud message to Muslim faithful. However, the 2017 agriculture budget seems to have fallen a little short of that promise.
I didn't see a budget that is addressing the key priorities and programs of the agricultural sectors.
But if you look at what the AIT targets, it targets import substitution, it targets diversification. And these two have been carried over, in quote, by the present administration that inherited it. And not only by the present administration, by the manifesto of the ruling party. And not only the manifesto of the ruling party, by the budget speech of Mr. President. And therefore we thought that automatically, logically, these would have been translated in the budget.
There are also concerns about some components of the budget that seems ambiguous. These include 4.13 billion naira for the guaranteed minimum price payment and the 2.61 billion naira allocation for promotion and development of wheat value chain and many more.
We discover also that there are some kind of misplaced priorities. At a time when Nigeria is, having, short funds, we don't need that. You look at, it's just like, repetitions in the budget that are not clear. You also look at things that are so ambiguous.
But Chairman House Committee on Agriculture Mohammed Munguru clears the air.
Guaranteed minimum price payment is a system whereby where there is a glut, since the government is now promoting massive production of food locally in Nigeria, there will be a situation whereby there is going to be a glut of some food items in the market, thereby crushing the price, or farmers will not be able to sell these food items, thereby discouraging them in future from engaging in the production of these food items. So in order to avert such a situation and encourage farmers to continue to farm and increase local production, government will guarantee a certain minimum price whereby government will now buy this food produce from the farmers, put it in our strategic grain reserves, so that when there is need for it, the government will now bring it out and sell. The reason why over 2 billion is now devoted for the purpose of our development of wheat and wheat value chain is to reduce our import dependence on wheat, so that Nigeria will be self-sufficient in wheat production, thereby eliminating the massive wheat importation.
Nigeria's agriculture budget has over the years fallen short of the Maputo-Malabo Declaration. These experts say this is not good for a nation struggling to be self-sufficient in food production.
The allocation to the sector constitutes about 1.6% of the national budget. But that notwithstanding, it falls short of the 10% Maputo Declaration, in which all African countries were urged to at least devote 10% of their national budget to the agricultural sector.
However, going by the trend, the 2017 budgetary allocation is far more significant compared to previous allocations. For instance, in 2011, the sector got 81.2 billion naira, which represents 1.8% of the total national budget. 2012, it was 78.9 billion naira, 1.66%. 2013, 81.4 billion naira, 1.7%. And in 2014, 66.6 billion naira, 1.4%. And in 2015, 39.1 billion naira, less than 1% of the total budget. In 2016, it was 76 billion naira, less than 2%. And now, 92 billion naira, a trend experts condemned and called bad news for the sector.
Because we are talking about empowering the youth, we are talking about making Nigerians go back to agriculture to develop the economy. So we have to make agriculture attractive.
Though key players are worried about the current state of food system in Nigeria, they are however hopeful that if money allocated to the sector is judiciously utilized, it will achieve some level of self-sufficiency.
The beauty of it is that in Nigeria, agriculture is in the concurrent legislative list, whereby the federal government, the state government, and even the local governments also devote significant amount of their resources towards agricultural production. So the sum effect of investment in agriculture by all the three tiers of government will go a long way in assisting massive food production in this country.
Agriculture remains at the heart of the nation's efforts to diversify the economy And the 92 billion naira proposed allocation to the sector for 2017 is expected to complement the existing efforts by the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and CBN to boost agricultural productivity through increased intervention funding at single-digit interest rates under the Anchor Borrowers Program, Commercial Agricultural Credit Scheme, and the Nigeria Incentive-Based Risk-Sharing System for Agricultural Lending. However, stakeholders indicate that provision of land and access to inputs, pursuing a conducive commodity market to ease exchanges, and plugging waste through proper storage should be considered as key areas.
You're still watching Global Business, and we're reaching you from one of the incubation business systems right here in Abuja. In fact, in the heart of the business hub in Abuja. And I've got, of course, the manager of this incubation business system. I told you it's one of the many that are in this town, and I know that there are some in Lagos, in Port Harcourt, in Warri, but of course they belong to different people. And what's the incubation business system about? What are the challenges? These are some of the issues we'll be talking with the manager in this particular incubation business system. His name is Victor Adamo. Victor, you're welcome to Global Business's talking point on global business. So Victor, let's start. What's the incubation business system? I have likened it to a cooperative society where, you know, a cooperative society is where many people come together and put money together. So the incubation probably is the office cooperative society. Am I right?
In a sense, you're right. But we like to call ours an ecosystem, as it were. So what we do here is primarily, it's a social enterprise where we have a not-for-profit arm and a for-profit arm, as it were. So what happens is we pull together businesses in different categories, and these businesses kind of feed off each other. Now we have.
I like that. Feed off each other.
Exactly. So we have what we call the anchor clients. The anchor clients are more established businesses who come in to take well-serviced office spaces, and these office spaces allow them to concentrate on the core businesses in which they've come in to do. So we give them support services that takes off the pressure of, you know, all the other things that would have taken them from their core businesses. So receiving of their clients, packages, servicing their offices, cleaning their offices, and taking their correspondence, as it were, so that they are able to focus. Now, to give back to the ecosystem, they work with us to incubate startups or new businesses, as it were, and through providing mentoring, advisory services, training services, kind of generally targeted towards building the ecosystem as well. So together, we feed off each other, and we're able to contribute economic development to any location where we are found.
So it's a parasitic relationship,
yes,
isn't it?
Absolutely.
Okay. Now, you described it as a social enterprise, and
yes,
that's very key.
Yes.
And I asked myself, is it? Yes, you say profit and non-for-profit, but when I'm asking this because I don't know whether you, as a business arm which brings all these businesses together, do you make profit yourself?
Yeah. So yes, we do make profits, and let me just go deeper into my description of the social enterprise. So we evolved as a business. We started off as providing the solution to well-serviced, furnished office spaces for small, medium-scale enterprises in Nigeria. But then we realized that the ones that were less experienced, the startups coming into business, were not surviving for the long haul. So we had so many cases where they come in, the peak spaces, and after a short while, they died out. And so it was important for us to focus on incubation. So yes, we make profits from the arm where we provide fully serviced office spaces to more established businesses. And then when we work with startups, we are more focused about getting them to survive the long haul. And so in the incubation sphere, as it were, what we do there is basically to support startups and small businesses to get them on their feet and be able to then do business sustainably for a long haul.
What are the kind of challenges you face? Because doing this is, I'd say, go back to that social enterprise.
Yeah.
I'm sure it comes with a lot of challenges. What are the challenges you face in trying to grow businesses?
Yeah, so one of the major challenges we faced was when we built the incubation program, we realized that it wasn't self-sustaining in terms of being able to get a fee for the services we are giving these startups to survive. So a fee for training, a fee for the space where they will be co-located, a fee for mentoring, or a fee for networking, business networking meetings and all that. And so to address this challenge, we talk to the anchor clients as well and have them give back to the ecosystem. Of course, we realize that sooner or later, I mean, like we say, what goes around comes around. What they've successfully given back to the ecosystem develops new businesses that can help the entire ecosystem to be more vibrant. So that challenge was solved by evolving our model, tweaking our model so that we took off the aspect of getting a fee for training. So because we get experience, and trust me, we have really experienced business owners in our ecosystem willing to give back to the ecosystem for training, for mentoring, and for advisory services. So that took off a huge chunk of the cost of incubating startups for us. And that was a major challenge as well. The other challenge is around finding really innovative startups to work with so that the efforts put at making them sustainable there is a reward at the end
of the day.
Yeah, so.
Okay, have you had systems or have you had instances where businesses outgrow your incubation stage?
Yeah, certainly.
And they go and become bigger businesses?
Yes. So we've had businesses, just by the sheer fact that they've been located within this ecosystem, they've got increased access to clients, to business opportunities, and all that. That has enabled them to grow well beyond the spaces we offer, because the spaces we provide here are not big. So by the time they are having upwards of 10 staff, a staff strength upwards of 10, they have to leave the ecosystem as well. Physically, but virtually, they are, of course, still part of the ecosystem.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much,
Victor,
Mr.
for
Emmanuel.
talking to
It was
us.
nice talking to you too.
We've been looking at the ecosystem. Well, I've been calling it the incubation system, but now we also know it's an ecosystem. Looking at it and looking at what it's all about, what are the challenges. And this is specifically targeted at micro and small businesses. So if you have a micro and small business and you're wondering how do you manage or bring out your business in a corporate environment, of course you may want to try the incubation business system. And maybe you may be one person who may be wanting to invest in this social enterprise in your own town. I'm sure Global Business has given you a business idea. Global Business continues.
Varieties of highly nutritious rice in Abakaliki, Ofada, Kano. Yet Nigeria wastes billions on rice importation. Cocoa in the southwest, and yet top dollar is spent on imported chocolate and beverages. Fruits rot in Benue, Nasarawa, Kogi, yet imported juice line the shops. 82 million hectares of rich arable land, yet no jobs, and food insecurity threatens.
Our real wealth is in farming, livestock, hatcheries, fisheries, horticulture, and forestry.
It's time to act different. Time to bring Nigerian farmers to the market. Farmers Market, growing Nigeria's agro-economy. Showing every Tuesday at 5:30 p.m. on AIT.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. Oh, we're back. Well, We're still on global business. Sorry, it's time for my lunch. Have you had yours? Well, we're still at the incubation system office right here in Abuja. Of course, Oma Oche is on street business today, and she's looking at what is popularly called keke. In Abuja, it is called keke napep. In Lagos, it is called keke marwa. In some other parts of the country, it's also called keke, not necessarily a name added, but it's a tricycle. The tricycle system is not new to the world system, actually. But it started in Nigeria, especially with the poverty eradication program. And of course, I remember that Magnus Kako was in charge of the NAPEP then. So the National Poverty Eradication Program, NAPEP, was actually nicknamed, or was the Keke itself was nicknamed after that program. So that's why it's called Keke NAPEP. I wonder what Oma has to do on the streets with these Keke riders, actually tricycle riders.
Hello and welcome to Street Business. I am Ongma Oche, and today I'm reaching you from the popular AYA here in Asokoro. Today on this episode we'll be talking about tricycles, popularly known as Keke Napep. Keke Napeps are a mode of transportation from one junction bus stop to another. Most tricycles are mostly used by people who are unable to have their own personal vehicles from one bus stop to another. Tricycles for so many years now have become a common means of short-distance transportation in most Nigerian cities. Since the ban on the use of motorcycles, popularly known as Okada, for movement of persons in most cities, the tricycle, which come under different names depending on cities you are, have been the most common form of transport. They are commonly referred to as Keke Napep in Abuja and Keke Marwa in Lagos. In Abuja, their uses have been restricted to particular places, mostly suburbs.
This AYA here.
AYA is
Yes.
the junction.
Yes.
So you start from here,
Yes.
and then you go to which other place can you exit?
Village, Kurundumo.
Okay, Kurunduma village.
Yes.
Now that place you go stop.
Yes.
There will be another bus stop again where we will stop for there.
No any bus stop.
So from AYA.
From AYA to village.
And you pay,
Now our last
and
bus
then
stop.
Each passenger pays how much? 15 naira.
15 naira. Yes, each passenger they pay 50 naira. Some they pay 70 naira. Some they pay 100 naira because of costing the fuel. Yes.
So is this business worth the stress? This business, this Keke Napep business.
Yes.
This Keke Napep, they suffer from morning till night. You can't get how much?
Yes, I will come get like 5,000, 4,000.
In a day?
In a day, yes.
From what time to what time?
From 6:30 a.m. to 10, 11.
So they don't want you to stay on this particular
everywhere
this place or within the town?
Within the town. We will not the inter town. From this AYA, Asokoro Hospital, that Kurunduma place. Nigeria will they operate. But these people they come here, they arrest us. We don't know why.
Many young men have found this business as a means of livelihood. Most of the riders do not own tricycles. They only drive and make returns to their owners. Meeting a 3,000 naira daily target can be the most challenging, as they have to deal with other expenses like fueling, maintenance and tax from local authorities. If you make 3,000 naira, 1,500 is for
I will buy fuel, I will feed myself.
Out of 3,000. So how much do you give the owner?
The owner is 1,500 naira a day. Joint task force.
Joint tax force?
Yes, they
Why?
stop us.
Why?
Because they say they don't want people operate here. our people, they are graduate. We not get work. This keke, we are using this keke to maintain ourselves. They say they no one. I don't know other big men. They like we people to go begin start armed robbers. I don't know why. Our Nigeria, four people we are suffering. Then government they come arrest us again. Like we now. Even now, some our keke there for BIO office. Even last 2 years, they catch our keke, they go park am for that stadium site.
Wetin happen? Why they carry?
We don't know.
So the joint task force just see you like this. Just carry your keke.
Even now, somebody told us say joint task force is coming now.
Now, okay,
Yes.
that's why everybody is running.
That's why everybody is run.
We don't know why. Till now, we don't know why. But even our chairman, they not discuss with our chairman. But this, even this road something VIO before even to cross this area, they don't allow us. But now, thank God, they allow us to cross there. But joint task force, now then they dispose of us.
Taking a ride in one of these tricycles is a bumpy experience. One can only imagine how bumpy the efforts to make ends meet by these riders can be.
That's street business and global business. See you same time next week. I am Oma Oche.
So, okay, we're going to be going through some of the offices that are here in this incubation system. I told you before that it's a system where you have small offices, small and medium business enterprises coming together like a cooperative formed under one roof. So instead of paying for individual offices, because a small office space in Abuja could go as much as 2 million naira, but with an incubation system, you may pay 100,000 naira for a month for a small office space, and that's probably like 1.2 million naira. So you're saving 800,000 naira in a year for a small office space that will provide you probably with light, internet, and all that. But let's see some of the offices that are in a typical incubation system. We talked with Patrick before, and so we'll come see his office right now, and you can see, hello Patrick again. So this is Patrick's office, and of course you can see this space is small, but you don't need so much space if you want to do business and you want to do it right. You don't need so much space. Isn't it, Patrick?
That's absolutely
good. So you can get a small space like this and be part of a cooperative or our incubation system for business. Okay, so let's go. So we have different spaces. We have another one here. You can see through the glass that that's another office space, of course, by different companies. I told you it's different companies and with spaces that make sense. Okay, let's move on with the program. On the program next, we're looking at a business feature. We started it last week. We talked about the restriction of 41 items by the Central Bank of Nigeria. And of course, we were looking at the full feature today. This circular on June 23rd, 2015, changed the foreign exchange terrain in Nigeria. The central bank, in a new directive, excluded importers of 41 selected goods and services from accessing foreign exchange. As with human nature, most people were not pleased with this change, while for others, they adopted a wait-and-see attitude. In specific terms, this directive aimed at reducing the pressure on the naira while preserving the nation's external reserves, classified goods like rice, cement, margarine, palm kernel and palm oil products, vegetable oils, meat and processed meat products, vegetables and processed vegetable products, poultry, chicken, eggs, turkey, private airplanes and jets, tinned fish sauce or sardines, among others. These goods were not valid for forex and cannot be funded at the official market. The dust was raised and heated debates followed. Some groups like the Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry and even the IMF chief, Christine Lagarde, called for a lift on these restrictions. But the CBN stood its ground.
We have always said that the reason we introduced the restriction on foreign exchange in Nigerian foreign exchange market for the 41 items is because we are convinced that these items can be produced in Nigeria. And because of the shortage of foreign exchange to service the needs of everybody, knowing fully well that our revenues in foreign exchange have declined quite drastically, we thought that we should limit access to foreign exchange in Nigerian foreign exchange to these 41 items. And I'm happy to say that it is yielding results. I'm sure the world, Nigerians, have seen the success of the Central Bank Anchor Borrower Program on rice. We are extending that to tomatoes, to other agricultural produce where we feel we have comparative advantage.
Months rolled into years and the voices began to thin out. Some people were adapting while others were reaping.
It hasn't really affected our market share per se, or production-wise. Like I said, it's been a challenge. We've been forced to source for some of these products locally. For some of them, you still need to import. And since they've been restricted, like I said, you have no choice but to get these items and at the black market rate.
For companies like us that enter into agribusiness, in particular, we've gone into rice production. We have a large expanse of land, over 3,000 hectares in Anak, in Anambra State. We wouldn't have gone into that if the policy environment of the past was still existing today. Today, even though there are difficulties and challenges as we imagine for a new business, one problem that we don't have is a demand for a product. Rice. I mean, you can see a sample of the rice on my table. A bigger challenge today is having to meet the demand. People are lining up. We were at Anambra State trade fair this month. We had long queues of people who want to buy rice, but unfortunately we were able to only give them, up to the limited amount that we had.
I wouldn't have a problem, with the CBN bringing back the 41 items, to the official market, because whether you like it or not, so long as people want it, they are going to find the forex, for it. And what does that do? That is what is also ballooning and encouraging the parallel market, which is probably outside the purview of the central bank. You can't control what you cannot see.
We actually seen changes in our demand of products. So there is more demand for our products locally manufactured than before. So I grade the overall policy as very good to excellent. Now, of course, I understand that there are some, let's say, synergies while you apply this, while CBN apply this policy. We were not expecting such a big crisis, a big recession that we have now. So more or less, we cannot see the policy as at the full extent. Nevertheless, based on conversations that I had with some other managing directors from other companies, most of them, they say it was very positive.
Umza Rice Farms is one of the biggest farm settlements in Kano. It does not only grow rice, but mills it. The company is one of the beneficiaries of this policy.
It's not even a welcome idea, but a perfect idea. If that was not done, now I don't think even the country has any dollar to import anything that are even basics to our life. It's a good idea done by the CBN at the right time. Though it's even late, we could have done this earlier on when the dollar is available, so that this will make us to start looking inward for so many things. Today, 41 items were not given forest, and we are still surviving. And this has opened so many doors to so many people to start looking inward so that we can be on our own on these items. For example, you are talking of toothpicks, you are talking of rice, you are talking of so many things. Let me talk on what I am involved in, the issue of rice. For the last 60 years, this country has been importing rice from different countries all over the world. At a point, we become the first or the highest importer of rice from in the world. 3, 4, 5 million ton is imported from countries that have not even the potentials to grow rice like ours. When this forest restriction was done, we started to look inward. Farmers start to have an opportunity. Farming become what can I say, business, not for pleasure. Serious people are now going back to the farms. Production of paddy has almost doubled or tripled. Prices of paddy has gone up. That means farmers are making so much money. I also invite you to join them. And this is what we need to do.
Koschari's rice factory in Lagos is another beneficiary of the policy.
The land that we are farming on in Anambra now was bought by the founder of business over 29 years ago. So now the question is, why was it not, cultivated all this while? Something triggered the interest. We started seeing a serious attempt by regulators or policymakers to support agriculture in Nigeria. So that's the way I would see that policy, the impact of that policy. And we can see that, because if you plant rice today and all of a sudden you open the borders, zero duty, whatever, it's all kinds of concessions going to importers rather than producers. Now, everybody, you shut down. That's why a lot of farmers, you start today, after 2 years, you can't cope, you shut down. Now, but the point, we are not looking for cover. We want to compete, but let's compete on equal, let's be on the same page. Before, that was not the case. So the policy, I think, has more or less made local farmers or supported big entrepreneurs in Nigeria to go into mechanized farming. Nigeria has a lot of farmers, but until you go into mechanized farming, you can begin the attempt, for food sufficiency.
My company is a classic example. We are a Nigerian company producing films, BOPP films, for the packaging industry. And since you apply this policy, it's the first time that we turn to profit. Not only that, the profit that we are making now, we are investing. We already have on order machinery from overseas to expand. This could not happen 3-4 years ago.
Production of fish in Nigeria has also gone up. A lot of people are embracing the production and sale of catfish today. I mean, you must have also read or watched even television, people who produce propylene, people were importing cans, aluminum cans, for Coke, for Fanta, for beer into this country. You can go and ask those companies that produce aluminum cans. They will tell you that their sales have increased even up to 10-fold. It's been positive. But I keep saying it, and I want to continue to repeat it. I wish I had the dollars. I wish our reserves were as high as 50, 60, even 40. We will not be in this. It's because we have limited resources, and we will need to continue to say, let us prioritize the use of these limited resources for the good of our country.
It has not been all rosy, even for those local producers of the restricted 41 items. Okumu Oil is a palm oil producing company in Edo State. The CBN policy has had pros and cons for this company.
Well, the impact, I would say, it's been us being creative and looking inwards on ways of finding alternative means of getting these items for us. So I would say, on the other hand, it's a bit okay because it makes us look inward, like I said, inwards, looking for local manufacturers of these items, or we're trying to find an alternative for certain things. So it has a good side, like I said, making us being creative and making us to be a bit more cost effective. For the long run, like I said, those things are needed. So it's a mixed feeling.
These points are corroborated by Nitin Agawal, Finance Director of PZ.
We ourselves have been quite constrained in the availability of raw material, and accordingly our capacity has been underutilized in production. So what we've been also facing is that we've been observing that the local raw material shortage is impacting the production, and we are not able to meet the demand. What in turn is also happening is a lot of smuggled oil is coming into the country now, and that is the unadulterated, the spurious oil is also finding its way into the market, which is not good. Also what we are doing is we are having focus more on consumer pack now because the oil stock is limited. So we have stopped bulk oil sales. Even the semi-bulk category, we do it in a constrained manner.
Opinions are mixed on a policy review for these restrictions.
Now, the first thing that should happen if you stick with the policy, which I'm advocating that we should, there's no reason why we should not, unless they're not ready to actually advance, in that in manufacturing business. Now, if you stick with this, first thing that happens is all the makers of the parts on their own will come to Nigeria. Ask them, why did Dunlop leave when they did? Why did Michelin leave? Because the policy today, we are doing local import. Tomorrow, every part that they manufacture comes in almost duty-free into Nigeria. So they've left. They are prepared to ship and sell in Nigeria. But before those people will come, glass making, all of them will come if they see that Nigeria is continuing with this assembly, even at that level of SKD. Now, it's only by the time these people come that the knock-on effects, skills are going to be improved. Individuals that used to work in those companies set up their own businesses and start making those components. So by the time you are moving from SKD, which is semi-knockdown, to CKD, by the time you are doing CKD, means you are doing actual work here, welding, painting, adding things. By then, we have had parts shipped to you into Nigeria. Some of those original equipment manufacturers will be in Nigeria making those component parts.
If you go to our mill, first of all, the mill it's a big machine that was imported. So most of the spares, of course, when it breaks down, we have to import those spares. On the restrictions, some of the items, some of the spares there, we cannot buy except we have to source for the funds in the black market. So we will definitely say yes, the policy should be reversed.
Look at other items to add to the 41, because as I said earlier, it's really working. It's working. Don't be deceived by anybody. These 41 items are not necessary, are things that yes, we can produce inward. Even today, these items are not sufficient, but it gives us a challenge as a nation to produce them. So reversal is a suicide.
I think we should sustain the policy. The only my recommendation, I would say, is that we should adjust. We should let's say coordinate our policies with other government bodies. Meaning, and also we should be very strict of whenever we announce a policy, especially from CBN, we have to follow the policy 100%.
So whether we will review or not, in the course of time, if there's a need to review, again, I don't have a position yet, we will. If there's no need to review, we will not review. But the important thing is, we still feel that it's a right policy,
in the right direction, and would like to continue to implore all of us to please embrace this.
The central bank's Anchor Borrowers Program is a major support for this policy. Already, Nigerians eat more of Nigerian-made rice. Even toothpicks are now being made in Nigeria. All good changes take time to mature. Probably this policy needs more time to mature so more Nigerians can reap from its benefits. So this is where we wrap it off on the program this Monday. Remember, we do Global Business Mondays, 2 p.m. Nigerian time. And it's always nice doing business with you. We're doing business differently this year. Global Business, everything business. I have finished my business for the day, so home I go to take my rest. Have a great day. I'm Imewole Ohiomohai.